It's about that time of day again here, boys and girls. Welcome back, welcome back. July 17th, 2014, the 17th day of the 7th month of the year 2014. Welcome back to your nightly newsletter here, boys and girls. My name is Joseph James. I apologize, first of all, for missing you guys on Wednesday the 16th. Got stuck in meetings all afternoon and barely made it out alive. But here I am, though. Welcome back here to your newsletter for Thursday evening. I don't miss those newsletters very often, but when I do, I'm always a little bit disappointed. I was hoping to get it done for you guys last night, but back again here today for the last one of the week. And of course, we have an exciting, little bit of a somber note to our newsletter here this evening. Of course, many people have heard about the developing story of this plane bombing in Ukraine and Russia. It seems like every day there's something else happening out here, these airlines these days. Very, very disappointing, very sorry and very somber tone here this afternoon in this office. And of course, hearts and prayers go out to everyone affected by that tragedy. What an incredible world we live in right now. I'll tell you, if it's one thing for sure, it really makes you take a moment to appreciate your health, right? Your family, your friends. So take a moment to thank people around you. Tell them you love them. I'll tell you, we've only got a couple of years together on this planet of ours and want to spend that valuable time wisely. Now, trying to transition here from a somber note here to a very exciting note here now. Of course, global turmoil, global unrest always means for big opportunities for professional traders. So tonight's newsletter, we're going to talk about how we can profit from this. I know it sounds bad to say, but how can we profit from these developments? Good news, bad news, all of this can be, of course, tradable opportunities here, and we do this every day in our live trade room. Want to remind you guys, we got 3 things for tonight. First, we'll take a look at what happened today. Second, we'll grab the charts and get some strategies for tomorrow. And third, we'll detail the schedule for tomorrow. We got a very important Friday coming up tomorrow. We'll talk more about it here in just a moment. So 3 things here today. We'll talk about what happened. We'll talk about what our plan is for tomorrow. We'll grab our charts, and we'll be ready for no matter what happens tomorrow, whether the markets go up, down, or sideways, you, my friend, will be prepared trading crude, gold, and the old mini Russell here on Friday morning. Now, before we jump into it here this afternoon, I want to remind you guys, if you're not over here on our blog at sidewaysmarkets.com, there should be a link below the video. If you're not watching this video on our blog right now, get over to sidewaysmarkets.com. There's a button up top here that says Nightly Newsletter. You can always find out, always see the last, most recent newsletter that was posted there. Get over to sidewaysmarkets.com because on our blog there are 3 specific things that I think you're going to want to be interested in here today, guys. First of all, right below the video, pause the video right now and download those charts for tomorrow. If you're with me in my trade room, you're going to want to bring those charts with you to tomorrow's trade room. If you're not with me in the trade room, what are you waiting for, right? You know this stuff works. Come out and see me tomorrow morning in our live trade room. We open up at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. In fact, after you're done downloading today's charts and bringing those with you tomorrow morning to join me in the trade room, after you're done with those charts, check out the free pass in the upper left-hand corner. That's right. I get a special free pass for everybody who wants to come out and see how we actually use these charts to earn a profit. I get a special invitation for you to attend our live trade room as a guest. Looking forward to sending you that free pass. Just give me your name and email address, upper left-hand corner. And then lower right-hand corner, just above my ugly mug, there's a spot there for you guys to give me your name and your email address, and I will send you a copy of our nightly newsletter every evening before 8 p.m. Eastern Time. All right? So 3 things here. Download the charts right below today's video. Upper left-hand corner, grab that free pass. Lower left-hand corner, make sure you register for our nightly newsletter. That way you never miss a tick of the following day. All right, now you guys know what the problem is or what the scenario is here today. Let's jump right in here, roll our sleeves up, and let's see what happened today. Now, first of all, again, we know all of this today is going to be, well, it wasn't for the most part of the day. It wasn't until 11 o'clock this morning that we finally got we had heard about rumors that Russia and Ukraine, one had shot down another plane, and it didn't really become headline news until about 11 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. So we had heard all this early this morning. It wasn't really news, but then all of a sudden it was discussed and discovered that this wasn't Ukraine and Russia. This was something else, or at least we may not know what that something is right now. So some are calling it terrorism, some are calling it random. We will have to wait and see. But one thing is for sure, as I'm going over this today, you must remember that as these developments continue to come out over the next 36 hours, I would expect this is going to go all the way into this weekend and most likely come out the other end next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we are probably going to be dealing with this for quite some time here. It's frustrating, but at the same time, we do know that being a professional trader, we have to remember our attitude is, as professionals, we can't change the game, so what do? We game the game, all right? I know it's a relatively somber kind of event here this evening, but again, as a professional trader, we have to put that aside. We have to think, how are the markets going to react to this, and how can we profit from it? One more thing, do not drink the Kool-Aid from the news media. All right. If we learned one thing from the 3 weeks ago's crisis out of Iraq, if we learned one thing from 3 or 4 months ago's crisis out of Ukraine, right, the news media is going to have a field day with this. All right. Remember, focus on your charts. Let the price action tell you the truth. All right. Don't believe what you hear on television. Believe what you see on your charts. All right, guys. If you haven't read a book, or I would recommend, if you haven't read this book called The Wisdom of Crowds, it's called The Wisdom of Crowds. This is one of those topics we talk about in our beginner level membership at School of Trade, where we go over some of the important theories, such as the Elliott wave theory, Fibonacci theory, market profile theory, right? Wisdom of crowds, coin flip theory, the law of diminishing returns. These are all important theories every professional trader needs to know. But if you're looking for a good book that will kind of give you some insight on kind of how to deal with this in the news media, it's called The Wisdom of Crowds, all right? And it is a very, very good book. You should be able to find it on Amazon, probably any local library. I think they still have libraries these days. But wherever real books or digital books are sold, you can find a copy of that. Or shoot me an email, and I can send you a copy of mine. All right, jj@schooloftrade.com. Now that we know there's going to be this kind of undertone here this evening about this issue with the plane, right? Boy, I'll tell you, if you are working for Malaysia Airlines right now, you are looking for a new job right now. Incredible. Could you imagine? 2 in a row. Remember, guys, this was the same airliner that disappeared, right, in the Indian Ocean. I mean, can you imagine working for this company right now? Well, I can imagine. I would have just clocked out and walked out. I mean, you can't imagine their business is going to survive this. 2 in a row. 1 is a tragedy. 2 is, well, again, I mean, they might as well just start selling off their airplanes right now, because I can't imagine anyone in their right mind is going to buy a ticket for that airline now. Whew, very, very scary stuff. But let's push forward. First of all, everything now reacting to that news here this morning. Again, for the most part, the markets really didn't do much today until about 11 o'clock. It was a relatively slow Thursday of OPEX. We talked about this earlier this week. As we get further and further into this week, we're going to start getting that summertime OPEX settling in, where all of a sudden traders choose the beach chair, right, instead of opening up their laptops. So we know that volume is going to be diminishing. I'll be talking about more about that as we go over the schedule for tomorrow. As you can see, though, right now on gold definitely reacts to this news here. Anytime we have bad news, gold will usually rise. Anytime we have bad news happen in the Middle East, gold and crude will rise. And you can see here gold bouncing right up off it. We got plenty of room here till we run into resistance. So be on the lookout for this trend line overhead and this overhead resistance here. These will definitely be 2 targets for you if you're watching here for gold to keep rising. Looking at the gold and a little bit more of a micro view here, we can see we are pretty much halfway between where we were at the highs and the lows here recently, right? So we're right about halfway there. Now, again, you're going to hear me say this quite a bit. Pending any further developments here from this issue with the airplane, this price could just keep jumping. It could consolidate here because you got a couple trend lines to worry about here. You can see right? Trend line off the low, trend line off the high. I can see I've got a sell zone here. A sell zone here at 26 to 19. I've got a buy zone down bottom here, 09.3 to 05.3. We got the two clusters of moving averages here. So this is screaming at us consolidation here over the next 24 hours. That would be if the fear factor doesn't get kicked up a couple notches. I can easily see, though, how this could easily be kicked up a couple notches. The fear, I can just imagine what the news media will do with this over the next 24 to 48 hours. So, it's very difficult for me right now to tell you what to do here or to anticipate here. So really all we can do right now is think up, down, or sideways, right? Because it all has to do with how the world reacts to this, this really is a crisis. This really is as bad as it gets, right? This is not a drill. This is definitely as bad as it gets here. And my heart really goes out to anybody who's been personally affected by this. But if price goes higher here, we're gunning for that 35. If price keeps going higher, we're gunning for that 46.8. So targets overhead here, 46.8, 35.2. These are, again, definite targets if these buyers keep going. All right, looking at it from a sideways standpoint, I've got lows here at 09.3. I've got highs here at 26.1. So looking at it as a range-bound situation, I'm buying lows and selling highs. And then, of course, you've got the what if price tumbles? If price falls, once I get below this 1305.4, I've got 1300, the big round number below me. Targets below me here would be at, again, 1300. 96.5, and then all the way back down to 93.5 and 1285.1. So again, very difficult to tell exactly what's going to happen right now, but now you know where we have targets overhead, where we have targets down below, and if we go nowhere, you know why we're going nowhere, because you can see we got those moving averages here, trend line above, trend line below. It's tough right now. Gold would be one market that I could definitely see getting chopped up here and getting sideways. Crude oil, Russell, on the other end, I don't think that's going to be the case here. It's almost impossible to tell just because we don't know what's coming out next. If they come out and say this is a huge terrorist attack, this definitely may get ugly here on gold. And by ugly, I mean you better be buying. All right, so we got the gold here, targets above. Again, I'll do my best here to give you as much information as I can, but without knowing what tomorrow will bring right now as far as the continued developments out of this Malaysian airliner, we will continue to wait patiently here. Last but not least here on gold, the 16 anchor. Now, you know me, whenever we see a price jump like this, I'm not going to buy these highs. I'm going to wait now for price to come down, and then once it starts going higher again, then I'll look to buy. Now, the frustrating part about situations like this is that we may not get a pullback, right? It may just keep reacting to more news as it comes out. So do your best to stay patient right now. Do not, well, you can do whatever you want. I assume you're an adult, but I personally would recommend you waiting for the pullbacks, even though during these environments, because remember, during an environment like this, your emotions are going to be charged because you're going to be preconditioned to what the news media is saying. You're going to have your own fear of missing out on this move, right? The fear of missing the next leg up is going to be firing off on all cylinders. So you're going to be inclined to jump in too soon. This is one of those times when professional traders, what we say in our office, we put the big boy pants on, and we have to remember that our job is not to think. Our job is to react. Our job is to execute the plan. And in my trading plan, there is nothing that says buy the highs when you think it's going to go higher. All right? That setup does not exist in my trading plan. In my trading plan, if price makes a new higher high, I have to wait for price to pull back. I do that because it gets me into the best entries and it protects me against downside risk. It also puts the odds in my favor. So right now, we got, again, areas here to pull back into, buying the 12.6, buying the 11, right? We get some symmetry here, buying the 0.93, buying the 053. Once we get below 053, then we can start thinking about selling. My targets down here, again, 1300 and that 1299.8. 1300 will always be a big magnet, at least in the near future, right? I'm sure someday here we'll say 1400 is the big round number to worry about. But 1300 right now is just like $100 on crude. It's a very strong price magnet. So as we are going higher, I'm waiting here for a pullback. And of course, I've got entries here at 12.6, 11 even, 09, 09.3, 053, and then again, if we get below this 053, that's where we can start selling off here and using that 1300, right, as your target. So again, very difficult to predict right now, so I will encourage you, come out and see me tomorrow morning in our trade room. I'll be listening to my live news data. We'll listen to it together, and we'll trade the reaction to this Malaysian airliner issue. We'll trade the reaction to it tomorrow morning in our live trade room. Moving forward here, now, from one market that jumps to one market that dumps. Here we go on the Russell. Now, this is frustrating, right? We were just putting together a nice move back up to the highs here, right? Licking our chops, so to speak, getting ready to buy that Rusty, and then this happens, right? So definitely we're seeing some concerns right now. On top of the Malaysian airline situation today, we also saw a really, really cold housing report. The lowest since 2011, really kind of sending shockwaves here through the housing industry right now. Home builders go down. Basically what's happening is we're seeing a real cooling off right now. Today we saw the new homes or the housing starts. Yesterday we saw the pending. It's been a frigid housing report week this week so far. So remember, in my humble opinion, the housing is the last thing to go. Now, one very, very big silver lining was industrial production today. I'm sorry, no, that was yesterday. Philly Fed. The Philly Fed survey today, which of course is just like the Empire State Fed, the Philly survey today had the highest, I think, since 2007. So we had a very bullish manufacturing report, but in my humble opinion, the way the ball bounces is it goes consumer sentiment, consumer sentiment, manufacturing, retail sales, and then housing. So we've seen great manufacturing, great retail sales, great consumer confidence, but that housing just has not settled in yet, right? You go to the shopping mall to buy clothes and stuff when you've got a job. You buy a home when you've had that job for a while and you see reasonable confidence it's going to continue, right? So clearly the housing market here taking it on the chin, and this little snafu this week out of this airliner is definitely not going to help right now. Big down day on the Rusty. I mean, we're talking something like 240 ticks down today. Was a big day overall for most of these markets because of the reaction to this airliner, but again, very, very big down day here. We were seeing sideways ranges here, and then all of a sudden, wham. Now, one thing I'm watching very closely is, will we close the session today above or below that 26.2? It looks like, yes, actually, we did close this. As I'm filming this, it's actually 6 p.m. Eastern time right now. And so we have a closing print below that 26.2. Yep, I got 24.7. So it does look like the sellers have held on to this thing all the way through. People always ask me why I use these types of charts, only a portion of my analysis. Well, here's a good example. A time-based chart, right? A time-based chart that actually shows where the candle opens and where it closes. You can see we opened all the way at the high. And of course, if I zoom in here a little bit closer, you can see here we actually closed below the low. That's a really important clue. Okay, take for example this candle right here. Remember this candle from earlier on in the week? This one had a big wick, right, and a big body. That told me that the price tried to go lower but couldn't stay lower. We see tonight we have the price that tried to go lower. They were successful at selling it off, and of course they closed at the lows. This just tells you right now the wisdom hidden inside this candlestick, telling us these sellers are very confident. They did not take their profit. They did not cover their shorts, and they're holding here into possibly tomorrow and into next weekend or next week. My target here to the downside, 1103.3, 1089.6. Then you got 1074 on the way down. Those are our targets now on the way down. And so we're going to adjust here now accordingly to see how we are going to profit from this big drop today. Again, for the most part today, this Russell just sat right here. It sat right here until about 11 o'clock, and then all of a sudden it made its move. We've been hearing about this issue with an airline ever since 5 a.m. Eastern time this morning, but we didn't realize it sounded like just, the back and forth that keeps going, throwing sticks and stones at each other across the Ukraine and Russian border. But this clearly definitely was not it. Once we figured it out, you saw the price drop. At this point, once again, it's almost a polar opposite of what I said on gold. On gold, I said price makes new higher highs. My trading plan says to buy on a pullback. This time, we're making new lower lows. So my goal now is to sell on a retracement, right? I'm going to sell on a retracement, right? So as we go lower here, selling on a retracement. Now, this is probably going to change here a little bit, right? Unless, as you can see here, I am right at these lows right now. So as we keep going lower, these numbers are going to be adjusted lower as well. So keep that in mind, folks. If you want to get a real-time update on this analysis, you've got to come out and see me tomorrow in the trade room, and I'll give it to you all real time. Right now, though, I've got sellers here at 35.2, I got 35.8, 38.6, 42.6, and 45 even. We're not even going to start thinking about buying until we get up above this 54. Right, I got to get above this BMT here at 51.7 before I can even start thinking about buying here. On the way down here, I got sellers targets. Sellers targets are pretty easy to find here, 18.4, 10.3, and I got 1103.3. That was the same number off the daily chart. So as you guys know, I do not want to sell at a discount. I'm going to sell at a premium and then take my profit here at the levels listed below. All right, guys, so be patient there on the Russell for the retracement. Here's a much faster time frame now, and this just, again, this kind of illustrates for you, we've got to be patient here. And the hardest part about this, like I said earlier, is that you are conditioned now. Your emotions are firing on all cylinders right now. God forbid you turn on the television set right now, you're going to be selling the lows whether you like it or not. So you got to, whether it takes handcuffs, duct tape, whips, chains, wrong webinar. But you know what I'm talking about, right? Whatever it takes, you got to be patient here. Now, don't get me wrong. There is money to be made in a panic once this thing, tumbles here. But, again, it's a very slippery slope. Our trading plan does not say when I think price is going to go lower, I sell short. All right? If you were to poll 100 professional traders, they will tell you days like today, they're fun for the rookies, but for a professional who's seen this over and over again, professionals don't sell the lows. They've got too many bad experiences with it, right? If I try to sell the lows right now, you know what's going to happen, right? It may go down 5 or 10 ticks, and then it will start to retrace, right? I'll be upset. I'll be frustrated. I'll use my keyboard as a frisbee. And then, of course, you know what happens, right? I'll just watch it then dump from the areas where I was waiting to sell it at the beginning, right? Don't make that rookie mistake. And I know, I'm going to stick in the mud right now, all right? I'm the guy who's no fun. Come on, JJ, let's get short everything right now. I get it. It's exciting, fast-moving price action right now. But are we playing video games or are we treating this like a business? It doesn't matter to me what you do, but if you're trading my money right now, I'm going to run my business correctly. I'm never going to sell at a discount. I'm going to sell at a premium. I understand the psychological aspects behind this issue in the Malaysian airliner. I understand what's happening right now, but I'm going to wait patiently here to sell at retracements because over a long period of time, I know tomorrow might be easy, but over a long period of time, though, by staying patient, waiting for price to come to me, I'm able to take control over a relatively chaotic environment. All right, so wait for the retracements here on the Russell. And again, if you want real-time updates on this, come out and see me tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Time. Now, back to big drop on the Russell, big pop on the crude. Now, again, crude oil has a very strange way of reacting to things, and it all has to do with whether or not the overall trading population believes this will affect supply of crude. If it's anywhere within Europe to China, it's going to affect crude. All right, it really is. It's kind of ridiculous, but any little whiff of any of the Middle Eastern countries, any of the OPEC countries, anything that has to do with a supply chain of crude oil, east, west, north, or south, right? It's ridiculous. All right, it's very, very easy to see that crude oil here reacted accordingly to this today. As I'm recording this right now, up around 103.85. Now, let me just remind you, okay? Let me remind you, the last time we had a crisis, that crisis lasted about 48 hours, and I made my quarter selling that thing short. All right, so did you if you're with me in the trade room, right? So we made some great money strategizing on fading that news, right? It's called fading the breakout, fade the news. You wait for the crisis newspaper headlines, right, to get stale, and then it comes right back down. Now, as I'm discussing this right now, it's Thursday, which means we have one more day where we could have another session filled with speculation. So, boy, dare I say 107.45? You know, it wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me at all by the end of the day by the end on Friday. I don't think it will happen, but hey, this is crude we're talking about, and this is a crazy news cycle. They're going to be fanning that flame and fear-mongering all Friday, I would assume. Let alone if we happen to get more information out. I mean, God forbid this thing was shot down from some terrorist group, or they're hijacking a refinery. Who the heck knows what might come out the pipeline tomorrow? So stay alert. And one more thing too is, you know, there's nothing wrong with saying I don't want to participate with this type of price action. All right, can we just go ahead and say that too? There's nothing wrong with a smart trader saying, you know what, I don't know what's going on right now. I have no way of telling what next the shoe drop will be next. I have no way of protecting myself against risk if things get really crazy. There's no first place ribbon for being the first person in the long. And there's no reason why a professional trader can't look at this and say, you know what, when the market gets like this, I don't want to play. All right, when it gets real choppy like this, I just simply want to hit the sidelines. Because a smart trader will say, you know what, let all the rookies, let all the adrenaline junkies, let all the risk takers out there, let them get beat up here the next 24 hours. But if and when it gets up to the top here, by next Wednesday, I'll be making the money the easy way, bringing it all back down to 100. All right? Maybe you think I'm crazy right now. If you do think I'm crazy, go back and watch the newsletter from the end of June and see how crazy I am now. All right? Because I know it sounds crazy right now. JJ, really? You wouldn't trade this? You're damn right I won't trade this. If it's too challenging, if it's too volatile, it's not worth your career. It's not worth your whole account. It's not. I would rather make a nickel and a dime every day, so at the end of the week I get $1, than to risk $10 to make $1. It doesn't make sense, all right? It's not, again, running your business like a business. All right? I'm off my soapbox. Now you know how I feel about it. And I just wanted to make sure that you're aware that although we think as humans we've watched way too many television shows, way too many Wolf of Wall Streets, all right, guys, trading does not need to be white-knuckled, risking everything on the seat of my, flying by the seat of my pants. It's not like that. Professional traders describe their trading as boring. When it starts to get surprises like this, right? Surprises are only great for birthday parties, okay? Not for professionals. So if you feel uncomfortable right now, I completely encourage you, take that Friday off and wait until things calm down here, all right? But again, the smart money right now is positioning themselves to get short once this issue passes and those newspaper headlines are lining the bottom, right, of an animal crate, right, instead of being on everyone's minds. All right, guys, so be aware of that. As you can see here, as we push higher here, we're running right into overhead resistance at 104.23. I've got 105.11, 106.50 area, we'll call it 105.64, 106.49, and 107.45. Also, if you were to project out onto this channel, that channel high will also be a target as well. And then we do have 110.09 all the way up here. I sincerely hope we don't get there, but I think it's possible. Anything's possible right now, as far as I know, because we don't really know anything, right? So all we know is we get a problem with an airplane. That's all we really know right now. Next up here, moving from the daily chart over to the 32 anchor, and you can see here right now we have cleared above all the key moving averages. Now we've got the green light to be buying. When you look at it this way, it really doesn't look that overdone, right? It really doesn't. That daily chart, though, boy, that daily chart makes it look like the world's coming to an end, right? But look at it this way here, it's not really that bad. We have a great opportunity, though, right now to buy this pullback. 103.07, 102.90, right? 102.32, and all the way here at 101.22. So as of right now, I'm going to stay bullish here from basically 103.07 down to 101.22. Once we get below 101.22, that's when I can start saying, okay, we got green light here to start selling short, back down to that 99 even. But I'll tell you, I thought yesterday we were going to tumble back to 99 even. And literally, it felt like those buyers just ripped it out of those sellers' hands here yesterday afternoon. It was pretty incredible to see this just shift in the personality literally right about 1 o'clock yesterday afternoon. And then, of course, wham, the news comes out this morning at 11 o'clock and just took off to the upside. How about targets to the upside here? Targets overhead here. Now, you'll notice I've projected out a couple channels here. Okay, these vertical dotted lines, maybe not vertical, but horizontal or diagonal dotted lines there. So those will definitely be channel highs. I use the low down here to project another channel high just in case we get a little bit overdone to the upside. So looking to buy here on a pullback, and then I get my targets at 104.26, 105.11. I got 105.68 and 106.53. Again, you saw the daily chart. You can use those levels in the daily chart as well. Last but not least here, our 16 anchor on crude. A little bit more of the same stuff here right now. Don't forget, we still do have, what was it again? Below 105. As long as I'm below 105, I'm still within striking distance of that $100 a barrel. I can't confidently say we're going to go there anytime soon just because I don't think we're going to see anything go lower, significantly lower until these headlines get a little bit old. So time decay starts now. Well, time decay will start as soon as we get the final result of what caused that airliner to go down. Because as of right now, anything really could be taking responsibility for it. So same thing here. New higher highs, you know me, I'm going to wait to buy those pullbacks here. I'm going to buy that 103.09, buying the 102.90, 102.66, 102.60. I've got some symmetry. We got 102.32 and 102.12. Here is the same scenario here now, looking to sell short here below this 101.89. All right, below that 101.89, and then again, $100 a barrel would be my price magnet there. All right, so if we get below 101.89, definitely looking for a short down to 100. And again, right now here on crude, we are staying patient. We are staying conservative right now. Again, this is one of those times, and this is one of those times as a trader in your career when you're going to be bombarded with the reasons to buy these highs. And I know it's going to feel like everybody's making money buying these highs right now, but I'm going to say it one more time. I will encourage you to be patient and wait for those pullbacks. That way you can do it the safe way. All right, the safe way. You might make money this time around, but if you keep doing it over a long period of time, you will go broke as a trader buying those highs. Moving on here. Last but not least, let's talk about tomorrow is OPEX Friday. Tomorrow is a summertime Friday, which means that we have a pseudo trader's holiday tomorrow. Now, of course, I'll be in the room. I'll be running my trade room. I hope you guys come out and join me tomorrow morning. But tomorrow is considered to be a trader's holiday because of two significant reasons. One, we have a summer Friday, and summertime Fridays are always a little bit of an excuse for the traders to grab a beach chair instead of going to their desk chair. And then to throw even more fuel on that fire, or maybe throw some more suntan lotion on, we get the OPEX Friday tomorrow as well, right? This is the third 1, 2, 3. Third Friday of every 1 month is OPEX Friday. Don't forget, below the video, I'm going to go out and put more information below today's video on our blog. I'll put more information about how you can learn where every OPEX is going to be by downloading the options expiration calendar. So check below the video for a link to download the options expiration calendar, and that way you guys will be ready for this in the future. A couple things here for tomorrow, though. We got a couple big things here for tomorrow. So we got OPEX Friday. We've got rollover tomorrow on crude oil. Okay, so crude will roll over tomorrow. I expect it to. We were sharing volume today. I would expect crude tomorrow, though, rolling over to 9.14. If it doesn't go tomorrow, it'll be Monday, but it should be tomorrow. On the 18th of each month, you can pretty much bank on crude rolling over at least within 1 day of the 18th. So we got rollover tomorrow on crude. We got OPEX Friday. We got expected additional reaction to Thursday's plane bombing, right? So we do expect to see more headlines out of that. So keep your ears and eyes open tomorrow. And again, summertime Friday, so we will expect to see a relatively light trading day. Now, I hate to say this, but this issue with this plane bombing may be just what the doctor ordered to give a summertime Friday a shot in the arm. That's a horrible pun, but you get it, right? I mean, there should be more volume, right, coming in here tomorrow because of everyone now who is expecting there to be some big moves tomorrow. Trading with news here tomorrow. We've got news overnight here, starting out of the Bank of Japan. We got their meeting minutes at 7:50, and then we literally go right to 8:30 tomorrow morning. We got CPI, consumer prices out of Canada, and we've got 9:55 consumer sentiment tomorrow morning ahead of that 10 o'clock leading indicators. Not a lot of news. In fact, usually there's absolutely no news on OPEX Friday. So we know that tomorrow we get a little bit of news starting tonight, a little bit of news tomorrow morning, but again, I would be very surprised if the headlines weren't everyone focusing on those headlines right out of today's plane bombing. So keep your eyes and ears open. Be safe. Be careful. If you're not trading tomorrow, have a great, great summer weekend. We only get a few of these every year, so make sure you enjoy them. And I'll tell you guys one thing. If this event today has reminded us, take some time to tell the people around you how much you love them. I mean, this is... we only get about 90 years, only about 90 summers on this planet together. Some of us have a significant less or significant fewer of those. So definitely this has reminded us, at least for me, it reminds me to tell the people I love how much I care about them and really cherish the time you have, guys. Our most valuable commodity is time. So if I don't see you guys tomorrow in the trade room, have a safe, have a happy, have a restful summertime weekend. We're going into the end of the month of July, last week of the month of July, next week. Don't forget, if you got some free time, share this newsletter with a friend, and also head over to SchoolOfTrade.com and join our free trial. We get a great free trial over here at SchoolOfTrade.com. You're going to learn more in our free trial than most other paid websites are going to charge you for. We've got beginner, intermediate, and advanced level memberships. I would love to tell you all about it, guys, so give me a call in the office anytime you want. We've got someone standing by here 24/7 to take your call, and I look forward to working with you soon as a brand new student at School of Trade. My name is Joseph James. Once again, my heart and prayers go out to anyone who's affected by the plane bombing today. What a tragedy. And I look forward to learning more about what the reality of this was and helping you guys tomorrow trade through this in our live trade room. So we'll see you tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time. If I don't see you tomorrow, we'll see you on Monday evening, 8 p.m. Eastern Time for our next nightly newsletter. Have a great evening. Have a great weekend. And again, we'll see you on Monday. Adios, amigos. Bye-bye for now.